basketball will be starting like in a hurry.
I know you're excited for basketball.
Not. I mean, yes, but also no, because I mean, I still don't like. I like the dynamic duo versus the big like three, the super team function.
I hate these super teams that keep forming every year.
Yeah.
I wish. I don't know. My opinion on basketball will be unpopular by many. So,
I mean, I don't know about that.
well, I know Cole disagrees with my opinion on basketball wholeheartedly. So
You're wrong.
Okay, what is it?
I find this dynamic where you incorporate all these star players to, and every offseason these star players who are best friends with each other all try to get their GMs to sign them by whatever means necessary, and they go from, I mean, the KD was kind of the start of it, but now you got basically the best players doubled up on every team, and then 3 technically amazing players on one team. So I mean, LA has just 2 super teams, and that's about it. West Coast, I mean, Golden State's still there, yeah, I guess.
No, Golden State.
Golden State's gonna be a little.
Klay Thompson's. Did you hear about Klay Thompson's doc? This is real quick.
Oh.
Did you hear about Klay Thompson's doctor? What he told him?
No, I don't know.
He said you need to quit goofing off and let that thing heal before it gets even more messed up.
Oh wow.
He told him, he's like, you need to stop.
Wow.
Because like Klay had the surgery and then immediately went.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And his doctor was like, this was a while ago, but his doctor was like, you need to chill, boy, or else you're gonna be really hurt.
I got you. See,
But
that's
so, I
just,
mean, like-
I hate this dynamic. Like, I wish because this is, it's not making the league more competitive. It's making it less competitive. It's making it so that teams are not. It's making it so that teams that have absolutely no. There are teams that have literally no prayer of being good. That is. I mean, like they're used to like the NBA used to have this like phenomenon every year. I mean, the last kind of few years it's been different, but before the Warriors became so good, any team kind of had their chance to win. It was like any team on each side, West and East Conference, both. Shut up, Cole. I know you're laughing, but almost any team had a chance to upset teams.
No.
Yes, they did.
No.
Yes,
No,
they
no.
did. Okay, tell me before
All right,
the Warriors
the Cleveland
dynasty
Cavaliers
started.
who lost 26.
Before the Warriors,
They had a chance to beat the Heat with LeBron, Bosh, and Wade.
before the
Back up.
Warriors and before the Heat, before all these super teams started. Tell me
Technically-
how many years in a row the same team won a championship.
I mean,
The
the
last
Spurs,
time
the
it-
Spurs
this-
had their dynasty pretty much.
Yeah, but
The
that
last
was
time a team
and that was not
repeated
superstars on every time
was-
on their whole team. That was it was good
I
players,
think
but it wasn't a
4
super
Hall
team.
of Famers.
I don't think that, but they were all at the end of their career.
No.
For the Heat, the last team to repeat was the Lakers in 2009 and 10.
Okay, what I'm saying is name a like a
Wait, no.
5-year period where one team won
before-
at least 3 of those championships, and that's my point. There wasn't before these super teams. Every year was competitive. There were teams who would go on playoff runs who shouldn't.
Hold on one second.
There were just like there was these.
He's about to go
I know he's about to go
Get
off,
us
but I get it. He disagrees with me because he thinks the NBA is more competitive now. He loves this. He loves
I
the fact
think-
that these players are
I think
doubling up
this
on
year-
teams and
This year is
stuff.
going to be way more competitive. Well, actually,
I mean,
with
yeah, it's going to be more competitive than past years,
with
but it's
Katie's injury and.
but that's the thing though. It's
Other
not
things.
going to be competitive more. You guys think everyone says it's going to be more competitive because there's better players on players on more teams. They just switched the name of the team that they're on. That's all they did. They didn't spread out the wealth through the whole NBA. They just went to a different team.
Eastern Conference is looking really good.
Well,
The
that's
Western
because
Conference
there's
is
young
looking really
talent that's
good.
coming in from college that's doing that. That's not these pro All-Star Hall of Fame ballot, first Hall of Fame ballot players switching teams. That's just teams building up their lineups. That's all.
The Nets were like, we have open slots. Let's pull KD and Kyrie.
I know.
They
That's
did.
what I'm saying. Is that like KD didn't just like the Golden State didn't just like get worse. KD just went to a different team. That's all they did. There isn't
Yeah,
more
they got
talent.
way-
They just changed the talent.
No,
There's
they're
not like,
still bad.
they're not spreading out
They're
the
near what they used
wealth.
to be.
They're not spreading out the wealth across the NBA. They just switched the wealth. That's all they did.
Are you done being wrong yet?
See, I told you he
Let's keep
completely
waiting.
disagrees with. He thinks the NBA is 10
The
times
NBA
better.
has not
Oh
had
my
this many
God.
contenders in
That's not
8
true.
years.
It's
It so
not
is true.
true.
There have not been this many contenders
Oh
in
my
10 years.
God.
That's
This is gonna
100%
be.
correct.
This is gonna be.
There are so many teams that could win the championship.
That's
Clippers,
not
Lakers,
true!
Warriors.
There's 2 teams on both sides that are gonna. That's
No,
it.
no, 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 no,
Wrong.
no.
Only the
Sixers,
Lakers
Celtics,
and the
Bucks.
Clippers have a chance, or the Sixers and the Bucks. That's it. The Nets
Celtics.
have no chance, and they have 2 of the greatest players in all
Well,
time.
the Nets don't have KD this year, so obviously
Well,
they
I
don't have a
know,
chance.
but I'm saying they paid all that money just for him to get injured. But the Nets have no chance either
He was
way.
injured before they got him.
I know. What I'm stating is that they paid all that money and he's injured. Okay.
Yeah,
they
because
didn't
they
know how
spread.
good
Look,
he
the,
is.
the NBA didn't spread out the wealth. They didn't.
so
They didn't
did.
say, okay, we're gonna just throw a bunch of superstars to all these random teams. No, they just
Exactly what
changed
they
the
did.
teams they were on.
No, they didn't.
The other teams got worse, and then they got
Nuggets
other.
could win it.
Yeah, the Nuggets
Oh
are
my
a
God.
team that built from the draft, and they could be really good.
So okay.
I mean, they basically.
I
did what
just
the
I just
Warriors
want
did
to
their
mark
first
this
year.
down on video audio recording and put it here so everybody knows. This is still the preseason, correct? The season has not started as of October
it doesn't
10th.
start. It
Okay.
doesn't
No.
start.
As of
It starts in,
October
like,
10th, I
little
do
less than 2
declare,
weeks.
Ryan declares, this NBA season will be one of the most boring in NBA history.
No, it was boring.
And none of the teams, maybe one of the teams with one of these superstar lineups, one of these incredibly stacked teams, maybe the Lakers, maybe the Clippers, I don't know who, maybe one of them actually goes to the finals. Maybe
I
one.
mean, only
None
one
of the
Only
rest
two
of them.
teams can go to the finals.
Only
I'm
one of
saying
those teams
only
is
one of
in
these
good
teams.
Someone has to go.
Oh, I'm saying what I'm trying to say is only one of those stacked all-star lineups will actually make it.
So
one
you're
of
saying
these-
okay?
That's
So okay,
correct
okay.
because only one can.
No, I'm
no,
saying
no,
it's
no,
gonna be an upset year because these
Oh, so-
teams aren't going to win because there's nothing. Ugh, I don't know.
I
what-
think
I
I
don't
get.
know.
So
I think
many
I get what he's
contenders
saying.
this
Hold
year.
on.
No,
I think
there's
he's saying,
not.
like- So he's saying like whoever it is. So let's say the Clippers make the Western. I think he's saying like a team like the Pacers, a team that doesn't have anybody's gonna make it. From...
Yes,
No, you're
because
wrong.
would that
every
happen?
single
Why
time,
would that happen?
every single time this happens, whether it be in the NFL, the MLB, or the NBA, one of these teams gets all these stars stacked on 2 or 3 different
The
teams.
Rockets could win.
the
Shut
Rockets
up
aren't
and let
doing
me
anything.
talk. When every single sports league, where all these stars go to one team, you got LeBron and Anthony Davis, right? Or am I wrong?
Yeah, they're together.
Okay, you got Kawhi and who?
Paul George.
Paul George and
the sixth man. I forget what his name
And
is.
whoever. You got
Sweet
all these.
Williams.
You got the
Williams.
Okay, so let me make it even simpler. You got the Clippers, the Lakers, and the Warriors. That's about all you have in the Western Conference.
No.
No,
Yeah, I
the
would
Nuggets
definitely
are
say
amazing.
The Nuggets are really good.
Okay, fine.
The
Add the Nuggets.
Rockets are going to be good. The
All
Blazers
4
are
of
good.
those teams.
The
The Warriors.
Trailblazers are
Okay,
gonna be actually
take
like,
add
low-key
all
sleep.
these teams you're adding up. None of these teams are going to be postseason relevant.
Yes, they will.
No, and
The,
no,
the Blazers.
if you
weren't
take
they on
all
a
the
3 spot
star
last year?
names, if you take all the star names that are on all these different NBA teams this year, if you take all these names and you put the biggest ones, the biggest free agent acquisitions, like the Clippers, the Lakers, the Nuggets, all those teams, I guarantee none of those teams make the finals.
The Nuggets actually didn't pick up anybody relevant. They just have their team.
Okay, whoever picked up relevant people is what I'm trying to say. If you take all those people who pick up relevant people and all these big, what do you call it? All these big free agent acquisitions that the NFL or NBA did all season long, all off season that everyone's screeching about. I guarantee not one of those teams that did a major acquisition makes the finals. In fact, I think probably what's going to happen is the team that like the 7th, maybe 8th, maybe even 6th seed in the Western Conference, they make the finals.
I highly doubt that one. With
Some team that
Absolute
everyone declares
every fiber of
barely
my
made
body.
it, barely relevant, that team makes the finals. And
So
then on
who
the
is that
East,
team?
I don't know who it's going to be. I can't
Who's making the
predict.
finals?
I can't predict. I barely know the rosters. I just know these super
Barely
teams
knows
never.
the rosters.
Look, I know where the big
Makes
names are. That's
Wild
all I know.
accusations.
I'm not making a
we
wild
even-
act. I'm making
we
a
even made
statement.
picks. we even made picks. I can tell you who's going to be in the playoffs from the Western Conference. The Warriors will be there. The Clippers will be there. The Lakers will be there. Not the Sun, Blazers. I bet
Rockets.
Yeah, you're right about that one. No, not the Grizz. I'm sorry. The
Jazz.
Jazz. Yeah, thank you. I was gonna say. Did I say the Nuggets yet? I think.
Wait,
Yeah.
I don't think Cole remembers who I picked, but do you remember when I made my preseason predictions about which team would be in the top?
All I know it was wrong.
He
all I remember.
got
think he picked,
extremely
I think
mad.
He picked the. Did you pick the Rockets?
I think I might have picked the Rockets. Look, I just think
Well, they were one of the biggest free agent acquisitions.
I think I might have picked the right. But here's what I will say is I might be
that was a trade.
relenting on that, and I
Whatever.
will say that I think a team that nobody expects to make the finals this year will. I don't know
I'm
who it's
telling
gonna
you
be.
right now, the only teams that are making the playoffs from the Western Conference that don't have big acquisition is either going to be the Kings or probably the Spurs.
You know what I hate about this year's NBA
neither of
the
them are doing
most,
it.
besides the fact that there's so many super teams this year, is that all these super teams are all people who came from different teams just to go to those big markets. Why do you think the Lakers got so stacked? Why did the Clippers get so stacked? Why did the Rockets get so stacked? What does all these teams have in common? They're part of big markets, media
Well,
markets.
AD just wanted to play Braun.
He would have gone probably
Kawhi left
anywhere, but
because Kawhi was leaving the Raptors no matter what.
I know.
He basically stated that.
why did LeBron go to LA? Because he wanted to be part of the LA media market.
Oh, LeBron, he was going there regardless.
I know, but he was going to get paid a lot, and he wanted to be part of that market. And then why do people play in Houston? Because Houston has a large market, very large media market, and they have a huge fan base. They want to go to teams with massive fan bases. The only exception to this rule is probably Denver, who doesn't have a big media market, might have a big fan base. I'm not quite sure how big it is, but that's the only exception that I can see. And they're a very talented
pretty sure-
team, but they don't have
nobody actually went
superstars.
to Denver for free agent.
Exactly. They probably
I
didn't
mean, they might have
acquire
signed
anyone.
like a couple role players.
And
but
it's the same
beyond
thing
But
in the
that's not
NBA as
over,
well.
right?
Brooklyn is a massive media market, downtown New York. Okay, these markets are attract these players go to these
Well-
massive markets. They don't go to small teams. They don't go to small markets. They don't do it.
Well, according to that, then you should have somebody in the Knicks organization, but nobody actually went.
Nobody wants to go to the Knicks because the Knicks are terrible.
I mean, you're not wrong.
It's true.
Their franchise is
James Dolan's an
horrendous. It's
idiot.
like the Redskins of the NBA.
That's inaccurate.
Well, that's the
That's
Wizards.
inaccurate. No, it's true. It is. They're the Redskins of the NBA. It's just
That's
they're a
basically what Wizards
dysfunctional
do.
organization nobody wants to play for, even if they're in the middle of New York. I don't care. They're a terrible franchise.
They are.
The only exception maybe is the Miami Heat, but I heard they got better, so I don't know.
They got slightly.
They
better
added
because-
Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
So I
But
mean
they're still
that's
not gonna do
something. It's
anything.
not huge, but that's something. I mean they're probably not going to do anything, but the same thing on the East Coast as well. Just smaller, just a few less big cities probably.
Well,
But that's what I hate, the oversaturation of stars on single teams. I hate it. That's why I hated the Warriors.
You'd rather have.
I want the
one-
talent
He
spread
wants
out.
every team to have less than 50 wins.
No, I want every team to have at least one star, and that doesn't happen right now.
Oh, that's actually.
It doesn't happen when
Every
three
team
teams
pretty
have
much
5
does have one
stars.
star.
All right, I
No.
think I'm gonna break
Except
this
for,
up
like,
for
the
a second.
Kings.
All right, sorry.
Can't think of a
Go
star
ahead,
in
go
the
ahead.
I'm gonna break this for a second. I get what you're trying to say. I understand you want every single team to have a chance, so it's not just the same thing.
Yes,
over
it
and over and over.
irritates me. Like the NFL probably is the most
It's just
evenly
idiotic, though.
split
It's
thing.
never gonna happen.
Well, actually, if you're looking for that kind of sport, go to hockey because their salary cap is so
yes,
low.
true. Their salary cap is so
Because-
low that they have to. They can't pay more than one star.
Yeah, basically. Well, I mean, they draft.
I mean, the
stars, they don't
MLB is
buy
becoming this way too. Look at the Dodgers.
stars.
They're
The
stacking.
MLB doesn't have a cap, so
I
it
know.
makes it
That's the worst. I mean, the MLB is probably
I'm saying-
another prime example. And the
this
NBA
year,
is
this
following
year in
that path.
specific is going to have the most
Look,
contenders.
out of all the star teams, sure, there's a lot of star teams that could win, but that's the problem. There's so many teams that there's okay. No, let me rephrase it. There's too few star teams.
There's like 3 bad teams in the NBA this
There
year.
really is more
Well,
than
I mean,
a
the
lot more
Hornets are
than
bad,
that.
the Hawks are bad, the Magic aren't great.
The Wizards are terrible.
Well, the Wizards are just that.
Terrible.
We're not going to talk about that. The Knicks are bad. But that's all in the East. If you go to the West, honestly, like the only really bad
West has
team
better
right
teams.
now-
Besides the
East.
Kings.
the Kings aren't that bad though. They've got young stars that are growing.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, the Grizzlies have Conley, but they refuse to put anyone around Conley. Wait, do they still have
No, Conley went to the Jazz.
Oh, right. So the
No,
Grizzlies
no, the
have no one.
Grizzlies. The Grizzlies have no. They're in a rebuild, so they're gonna suck. Like, sorry. Like the Thunder aren't good. They're gonna be in a rebuild. The Timberwolves need to figure out what they're doing. I mean, but everybody else in the West. I mean, the Mavericks also kind of need to figure out what they're doing. Because
Well, they just got
they
they
got
have
Porzingis.
Doncic and they just got Porzingis, so
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. They
they're
need
just trying
more.
to win now.
I think
They need more.
I think the Mavericks are going to be bad. I think the Pelicans are going to be very bad, even though everyone seems to think they're not.
Dude,
I think the
okay,
Grizzlies are going
actually-
to be terrible.
For our last topic here, not like later on, but we'll do our review in a second and our
Right.
picks. But we're coming back to the Pelicans conversation.
Okay. Sure thing. I
have
look.
so much to
I'll
vent
put a
about
I'll put a
already.
bow. I'll put a massive bow on this because apparently I am literally the only person in the entire world that thinks this. So I'll stick with my gut on this one because I believe this since the first super team, which was probably the Heat. Okay.
No, it was wrong. It's actually the Celtics. The Celtics with Paul Pierce, KG,
Yeah,
Ray
Okay,
Allen.
fine. Paul
that was
Pierce,
the first
KG,
time that they
Ray Allen.
like
The
signed
first,
two huge free agents.
Fine. The
Yeah.
first super team since an
Oh my good lord!
But
What?
they only had one super team, so that means every other team still had a chance to beat them. When there's so many people like this, not people like this. When there's so many, like there's when there's multiple teams with multiple stars on each team. Not only do the smaller teams who have absolutely no chance of getting a star with no cap space, not only do they have no chance of winning, they have no chance of making the playoffs at all. So you
No,
got
I kind of agree with that.
maybe 5 to
I
6
understand
teams
what you're saying.
every year who are guaranteed shoo-ins for the playoffs. And that's boring. How is that fun to watch a regular season when you have 5 to 6 teams on each side who dominate
know
everyone
who's
else?
going to win.
Exactly. It's boring. It's like what do you want to know why the MLB became boring besides the fact that they have a massively long season? Because the teams were stacked. Everyone knows who the Yankees and the Red Sox are going to be good, competitive teams every year.
Red Sox are terrible this year.
They
Yeah,
won
they
the
did not
World.
do
Didn't
well.
they win the World Series last year? I can't remember. Did they win the
I
World
think-
Series last
I
year?
think
No, the Astros won it last
Sorry,
year.
2 years ago,
No,
the
they
Red
didn't.
Sox won a World Series.
Didn't the Astros win it last year?
No, the Red Sox won.
The Red Sox won the World Series last year.
But then I think
Like-
the Astros won the year before.
Every year, you can guarantee at least 2 to 3 teams on each conference in the NBA are going to be in the probably in the finals, and it's so annoying to me.
For the last 5 years, yeah, but not this year.
No,
See, I will say this much
guarantee
about the
that's
initial
yeah.
Warriors. Like
this regular season is going to be so
Win.
boring.
Oh, you're
I'm
just
gonna say
so
this much about
wrong.
the
There's so many different things to watch.
It's not. It's just not.
A
The
1,000
Warriors-
things to watch.
the
I can't wait
Warriors
till I
on their
watch the-
first win
Yeah.
was built from the ground up.
Yes, the Warriors.
After that though,
Yeah.
okay. After that, no, there's just nothing
No.
I can't defend them after their first title win.
No, I mean I can't either. That's what I'm saying. Is that's when I became annoyed with them when they just took to free agency to stay relevant.
Let me get Boogie. Let me get KD. All right, we're good.
Like this is what I hate about what the NBA. It's so oversaturated with talent right now,
And
it's
they
just-
fixed it. Like,
No,
they did a
didn't
little bit.
fix it.
Oh
No,
my
they
God.
didn't. They made it
Idiot.
worse.
All right, okay.
How did they
okay.
make it worse? There were 2 teams in the past 5 years.
And
That was
every
it.
other
There's
team,
10
every
now.
other team at least had a fighting chance to get
No,
to the
they didn't.
to
No one else was
to
even
the
close to
ECF
the
or
finals.
WCF. They
The
each had a-
Warriors and Cavs, or whoever LeBron was on, were blowing them out in the playoffs. They
The
were
Raptors-
bulldozing the playoffs.
the Raptors and the Raptors and the Celtics.
Raptors
that was
won
the
because
other team.
LeBron didn't care anymore.
The Raptors and the Celtics and even a couple times
Actually, the
the
Raptors only won when LeBron.
all
left.
those and the Nets. A
Oh, yeah,
couple
whatever.
times.
Oh yeah,
All
he
these-
wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't even in the fucking East anymore.
The Raptors and a couple other teams and the Bucks and the Celtics all had their multiple chances to beat LeBron in the ECF multiple times. Just because they
never
couldn't do
had a
it
chance to beat LeBron
doesn't
when he
mean
was in the
they
East.
weren't relevant. Each time there was a different team that was relevant in the Eastern Conference. It wasn't just 4 teams that have superstars. Guess we're gonna forget the rest of the league.
You could predict who would come in second in the
Every
East, but
year it
everyone
was
knew
different.
that LeBron was going to win the East.
Yes,
Yeah.
but that's
There
what I'm
was never
saying.
any
Every year it
question.
was different. Who would be the next person? Who would be the
No
next
one
team?
cares who's going to come in second.
No,
Who
but
the
they
hell
want to see.
cares?
They want to see.
You're
I don't want to
done.
see
It's
the same
over.
4 teams in the playoffs every year. I hate it.
Who
I
cares
hate
who's coming
seeing
in
the
second?
same 4 teams in the top
You're
of the
not
playoffs
going
every
to
year.
see the same 4 teams.
You are. That's the problem.
The
That's-
Lakers weren't even in the playoffs last year. They're gonna be in the playoffs this year. The Clippers
Now
were like
it's
in the 8th seed
cemented.
last
It's
year. They're gonna be way
cemented.
higher.
The
Now-
Warriors are not making the finals this year.
Now
period.
it is cemented now that you're going to say the top same 5 teams in each conference every single year from now on. That's the worst part of the NBA. It's not going to change. There's not a single team that's going to have any chance of beating anyone. But any of these top 5 great teams. That's it. On each side. And it's going to be boring for every other team in the league.
You're an idiot.
If
All
you
right,
were
I'm
a
cutting
fan,
you guys off.
Okay. That's all. I just want to wrap it up.